Okay, good.
All right.
BJ, before we go, I've got my guests here, Jeremy, Howard, and Verla and I are talking Spicy Hot Games. The next one on the list, Dwellings of Eldervale from Breaking Games, something no one's talking about anywhere on social media at all. That's a lie.
So what if I told you there was a game that has worker placement, area control influence, tableau building,
I'd say
monsters with abilities, 16 different factions with abilities,
game trays.
Like
that's it all.
So
and you know what they have that's the coolest thing of them all? Hold on.
What's he got?
Hold on.
What's he breaking
Of course, I got the one that. Oh, hold on one second. There it is.
sound effects. Oh my god!
What is that?
The little monster, the phoenix.
No way.
Yes. That is glorious.
Yeah, dude, hold on. I gotta grab one more. Sorry, I have to do this. I have to do this. This is absolutely ridiculous because it has nothing to do with the gameplay other than it's just absolutely ridiculous and cool.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the game. Yeah, like literally like this lava monster, and they have two different forms. So yeah, and they're huge. Who even cares? Like, who cares, right? Okay. So anyway, in this game,
so this
really
is Toy Game the Euro.
Okay?
That's what this is.
Right.
Toy
Like,
Game
you're not
the Euro.
even really seriously. So you're placing your workers on these things, and you're going to get tiles. These little tiles here. This is just the regular ones, but they're little tiles, and they have multiple uses. So you can use them for resources. You can use them to put in cards to trigger abilities, and then you also have this little control here. What you're trying to do is put these dwellings on there, dwellings of Eldervale, so that you can score multipliers by taking over certain elements. There's going to be an elemental board on the side with different cards, and as you open the gates to those, you're going to get different cards. Those cards are going to have different abilities that affect everything. I mean, they set up walls, they trigger up more cards in your tableau. They do all these different things, and you'll have a tableau over there that will expand your point multipliers for your point multipliers at the end game. There's actually there's like a elemental tracks that go around, and they actually are contingent upon like how many people are playing. So if you have 5 people, you're going to use all of them. If you have 2 people, you're only going to use 4. So it's like what elements you're dealing with, and they have little mechanisms for everything. So like if you go to this magical land and go get these doors, you can actually buy a card, but then you can also buy a card. You can bury a card as well. So you can like do things like kind of strategically to not let everybody just get what they want. You also have these dwellings. So interesting part about this game is when you put the dwellings on there, your worker becomes the dwelling. So you lose a worker, but they add to your influence for that area. And they also contribute to your dice pool for when you get into attack situations. Yeah. So,
what?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So these workers, you have your basic workers. And then you have your warriors, which like help you fight, and they contribute more dice. You have your wizards, where they can just go anywhere on the board. And then you have your dragons that can move up to 2 away. So you can't just fly around the board. You can only go around, like once you place a worker, you can only go like 1 step away. So like in a area around them.
Sure.
But what happens is these types of warriors also change depending on the faction. Now this is just one color, right? And this will tell you the different abilities that they have. I pop this out. And I flip it over, different abilities, different faction, different abilities.
Wow.
Yeah. And they have these game trays in it as well. So everything's neatly organized. It's all packed in there.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Super replayable. Lots to explore, right?
Yeah. And then, so the crazy part is that you also have these monsters. So the monsters come out and they have their own abilities as well. When you get within 1 space of them, they move over to you. I was hoping that it would do that on cue. Over to you, and they do these little things that affect the board game state. Like this one will probably have like it'll push everybody away so you can't fight them, but everybody can come in and fight together if they're next to you. So like I'll go fight a guy, but then people next to me can join in as well, and whoever wins the battle will get like points or whatever, but whoever loses goes to the underworld. So, it sounds crazy, and they get a sword so they can win fights later on. So it's like you have ways of like dealing with this fight thing if you don't like the fight part, and you're chucking a crap ton of dice, a crap ton of dice. That's the one part that people maybe not like, but there's so many ways around making that work for you. And I just encourage people to really take a look at this one. It's so out of the box. It sounds like a freaking disaster when you explain it. Like, I remember when I first heard about this game, and Peter asked me to cover it because it had a solo mode. And solo mode is almost perfection. And
I got a picture of it there.
I said, I'll play it. I was like, I'll play it. And then I ended up just loving that game. And then I said, if this game comes out in 2020, it's going to be my game of the year. And I played the final copy, and I was just absolutely blown away. Yeah, there's so many things I just glossed over because there's a lot going on in this game. It's not a light game at all. Like, there's nothing near a light game because there's just a lot of small things that you can use, cards for. And
I'm not hearing it pigeonholed though. I mean, I'm hearing some Ameritrashy, I'm hearing some Euroi, I'm hearing some conflict.
There's everything. I didn't even talk about magic cards. Magic cards can score points. They let off spells. They have there's so much going on in this game.
How hard is it to learn?
It's going to take about 30 minutes to teach. It's going to take about 30 minutes to teach. So it's not a light game. It's not a light game at all. And it's not because the rules are clunky. It's actually very simple. You are placing workers or taking them off. You are playing cards or using resources that are free actions, just like any Euro game. Right. But of course, in true like Lacerda fashion, there's always a whole bunch of executive actions to follow. Right?
Just play a card. Pick a card. Play a card. Pick a card.
Right? When you pull your workers off, guess what you can do? You can do several things. You can buy more workers. You can trigger some resources on your card. You can do there's so many things that you get to do that are very pleasing in this game. And that's a great game.
Christian says easy to teach.
But that's the thing.
A long teach, but easy.
It's a long teach, but it's literally everything that's happening is something that you've seen happen in a game before. It's just when you get to like the monsters and how they work, and then how you get like the cards out of there, the elemental cards. You need to know how that system works, so you know how your multipliers will match up. But it is easy to teach. It's just
what do you
think,
Berla?
What you're working with.
Okay, there's elements of it that don't sound like me at all, but everything you've described, I want to jump in and try this. It sounds really fun.
That's what I would say. And then the factions are just completely different. They're completely
Christian
different.
says 18 different factions.
There's 18. They're so they work so different, enough because everybody has a dragon, wizard, all that stuff like that. But it also just the differences that they have feel OP in the right way. So everybody has their little overpoweredness, maybe extra dice, maybe you can't join in a battle that they're in. All these just small little details that you're like, ooh, I can do that. Yay. Okay. Yeah. And then you start adding those tableau cards in there, start adding monsters in there because the monsters can be different every game. You'll have at least 4, I believe, in every game. So you don't even know when those are going to come out because the tiles come out. You're like, oh, here's a monster. Where are you putting the monster? I'll put it right next to you, so you can't go there. And that, it's just it's great.
I want to try this. I want to play this.
I know it is not good.
I'm like Verla. I missed the Kickstarter, and now I'm regretting it. This would have been fun to have.
This one plays up to 4. Somebody's in the chat.
Jay's asking.
I'm not kidding you. Like this, and it works at all players' counts because of tile scale. So
okay.
I played it. I've actually played it mostly 2-player, and I believe the designer and publisher said they tested it pretty much most of the time at 2-player, so they know it's
1 to 5, best of 4.
Yep.
So,
4 is the best, followed by 1. And actually, they're really all good modes. I think when it says best at 4, it's just because you get to see everything.
3.2 weight on BGG. It's a little chunkier than I thought.
I'm serious, dude. It's not.
Got some meat.
Luke Glory doesn't design light games, though.
That's true.
Mad Hat Energy Empire is about the same weight, and then Whistle Mountain's about the same weight. So,
got some meat. So worker placement. It's got some fantasy. It's got the crazy over the top production.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is one.
Sound effects.
I know. Come on, man.
And sound effects.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
I like that. I like that. All right. So that is Dwellings of Eldervale from Breaking Games.
I'm just going to whip these out, by the way, at random. So just expect me to be turning these on as we play.
Yes.